glad to be here with you again for another amazing lesson, and we are going to see what happened to the children of Israel. Okay, so but before we go there, please tell us, what did we talk about last time?
So last time we talked about the people of Ai and how they defeated the Israelites and why this happened.
Yes, and we know that they were able to defeat the Israelites because God said that there was a sin that was actually in the Israelites' camp.
Yes.
So what sin had happened?
Achan had stolen, and then he lied about stealing.
Yes, and we know that one of the 10 commandments, or one of the what is said in the covenant of God, is that you cannot steal and you cannot lie. Okay, but that's what Achan did, and because of that, there's no way they were able to defeat Israel.
People of Ai.
Yeah. So Israel was not able to defeat the people of Ai. The other thing that also happened is that because of Achan's sin, all his family got punished.
Yes, everyone in his family got punished because he sinned.
Yes, so we need to remember that we cannot sin, because sin doesn't just affect us, but it affects
everyone around us.
It can affect your friends, your family members, and they can also get punished because of your sin. So you need to always remember not to sin, okay? So today we are talking about another very interesting story.
A very funny story.
Yes. So the children of Israel had already conquered the river Jordan. They were able to cross it. They had already conquered the city of Jericho, and all the walls had come tumbling down, and they had also already conquered the town of Ai. Okay, so what God had told them is that I don't want you to sign any treaty or any agreement with any of all these tribes in Canaan.
Sign a treaty with no one.
Yes, so they were supposed to conquer all the tribes that were in Canaan, and they were not supposed to sign any treaty. Okay, so because of that, this is what happened. Okay, there was a group of people that were called
the Gibeonites.
The Gibeonites.
Yes.
Okay, but they were not the only ites that were there in the land of Canaan.
There were very many
There were very many other ites. Shiro, please tell us all the other ites.
There were the Hittites, then the Amorites, then the Canaanites, then the Jebusites, then the Hivites, and then the Perizzites. And there were all these ites, all of them are ites.
So the kings of all these ites, all these other tribes that were there, these kings, they got together and they were saying that they are going to fight the Israelites.
Yes.
Okay? So they got together and they said that they were going to fight the Israelites. But then, let me tell you what happened. The Gibeonites decided there's no way
to fight these
There's
people.
no way we can fight the Israelites.
They
because
will defeat us.
Yeah, because they had already seen what had happened in Jericho and what had happened in Ai. So they were scared. They were like, we won't fight them. We will not join with all those other kings, and we are not going to fight them. But what they resorted to was trickery.
Yes. They said, we're going to trick the Israelites.
They said they're going to trick the Israelites. So this is what they did. They took old ragged clothes, torn,
worn out
and dirty clothes,
and worn out shoes.
Yes, their sandals were all worn out. And then the other thing that they did is they took stale bread.
It's dry and moldy and stinky bread.
Not very good bread. And then when they took that, they said, we are going to go to the Israelites and tell them that we've come from a away land.
Far place.
And they told them, we'll tell them that, and they'll look at our clothes and they'll realize that they've come from a far
place.
And that's exactly what they did. So they came into where they were at Jericho. The Israelites were already at Jericho. They had come there. So the Gibeonites came to them and they said, we have come in peace and we want to sign a peace treaty with you. And do you know what the leaders of Israel did? They did not even talk to God.
No.
They did not consult God. They just looked at those people and they said, are you telling us the truth?
How do we know?
How do we know that you've come from a
far away place? How do we know?
You know what the Gibeonites say? Look at us. Our clothes are all torn.
And we're dirty.
And we are tired.
And our bread.
Yes, this bread was freshly baked from the oven when we were coming. And
look at it. It's all
old and moldy.
And dry.
And our shoes are all worn out. So there's no way we've come from here.
Just over here. No way, it's not possible.
And do you know what the Israelite leaders did? They did not consult God. They did not ask God. They did not find out from God if these people were telling the truth or
if they
not.
were lying.
And let me tell you what they did. They signed a treaty.
Yes.
So the Israelite leaders and the Gibeonites, they signed a treaty and they said, we will not harm you, we will protect you, and we're going to be peaceful with you.
Yes.
But then,
3 days later,
the Israelites were moving around Canaan and they came upon the Gibeonites. And they told them, why did you trick us? Why did you tell us that?
Why did you lie to us?
Exactly. And you know what the Gibeonites said? They said, we know what you did to Jericho. We know what you did to Ai. So we didn't want you to do that to us. And that's why we came to sign a treaty with you. And they knew that Joshua was not going to sign a treaty if he knew that they came from a near
3 days away.
3 days away. And so that's why they lied that they've come away from a faraway country. And they dressed up with their shabby clothes.
And they carried their old
moldy bread.
Yes.
And they tricked them. So then now when the children of Israel realized that they had been tricked by the Gibeonites, they were very angry.
They were so angry.
They were angry at the leaders and they said, now what is this you've done? Why did you sign this treaty and all? And the leader said, because we swore that we were not going to harm them.
And we were going to protect them.
Yes, we are not going to fight them. But what we'll do is we will make them our servants.
Yes.
And what did they make them?
They made them their wood cutters and their water carriers.
Yes, so they told the Gibeonites, what we are going to do is we are not going to conquer you or get rid of you.
Yes,
but you will be our servants. Okay, and that's what happened. They became their servants, and until today, the Gibeonites are the servants to the Israelites, where they cut for them wood and they carry for them water. Okay, but children, what I want us to learn today is that whenever you're doing anything, you need to ask God all the time and every time.
Yes.
Okay? Because if you don't ask God, you could get tricked.
Yeah,
just
like the Israelites.
Yeah, they were tricked because they did not ask God. They were tricked. And sometimes you can be in school and a friend of yours tells you, I want us to go and sneak out and go somewhere.
Let's go do this.
And let's go and do a bad thing, and you don't even ask God. But you don't even realize that your friend is tricking you. But you always need to ask God in everything. You need to pray and ask God, what am I do? Yes, in everything that you do. Okay, so don't allow yourself to be tricked. Always ask God.
Yes.
Okay, and that's our lesson for today. So what we're going to do is stand up so we can be able to sing together a song that will help us. Okay.
Hi! So now it's time for us to sing our song, and we're gonna sing this song about how letting God be in charge of everything.
Yeah.
Everything that we do, God is in charge of it. Na 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 na. Every move I make, I'm making you. You make me move, Jesus. Every breath I take, I breathe in you. Every step I take in you. You are my way, Jesus. Every breath I take, I breathe in you. Waves of mercy, waves of grace. Everywhere I look, I see your face. Your love has captured me. Oh my God, it's love. How can it be? Na 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 na. Every move I make, I'm making you. You make me move, Jesus. Every breath I take, I breathe in you. Every step I take in you. You are my way, Jesus. Every breath I take, I breathe in you. Waves of mercy, waves of grace. Everywhere I look, I see your face. Your love has captured me. Oh my God, this love, how can it be? Na 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 na
want to do our craft, okay? You remember our story. Our story was about the treaty that the Gibeonites signed with the Israelites. And God had told them, don't sign any treaty with anyone
in their land.
Yes, in that land. Do you remember the tribes that were there? I know you said them, Shiro, so many times.
I hope I remember them. There was the Hittites,
yeah,
the Amorites,
yes,
the Canaanites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, something like that.
The Jebusites. So there were all these ites that were in that land, all the tribes that lived in Canaan, and God had said, don't sign any treaty with anybody. Yes, and so the Gibeonites actually knew that, and they knew that Joshua was not going to sign a treaty. So what they did is they played a trick on him, and they came with stale bread and torn clothes, and they said that we are from a faraway land, but they were really not from a faraway land. They were just 3 days away. Then they were found out, okay? But then now the Israelite leaders did not ask God.
Yes,
okay?
They didn't ask him before they made their choice.
Yes, and that is how come they were tricked. So children, I want you to always remember to ask God. Always. It doesn't matter what you're doing. I want you to always remember to ask God. And how we ask God or how we talk to God is when we pray. So when we put our hands like this is we're praying. So what I want us to do is I want us to draw hands. Okay? We'll draw many pairs of hands, and then every time you want to ask God something, you take your pencil and you write what you want to ask God. So I'll show you what we'll do, and then this craft will help us to remember every time we want to ask for something, we pray. Okay? So what we have here is manila paper that we've cut like 8 times. So Shiro has 4 and I have the other 4. Okay? And we are going to make pairs of hands or many hands. Or
many hands.
Many hands. So what you do is you take your hand, you put it on the paper.
Wait, actually, maybe.
Yes. So you put your hand right there on the paper. Don't put it at the corner, because we want to use both sides of the paper. So you put it and you tilt it on one side, making sure it's extended that way. And then you open your fingers just a little bit, okay? So this is what I'll do. I'll draw my hand. I'll actually outline it a little bit later so you can see how it looks. So I'll draw my hand right there. Okay, and I'm passing the pencil in between my fingers. My fingers are not wide, they are almost together. Because when you're praying, your fingers are almost together. So that's my hand, okay? Then I'll take my piece of paper and I will actually turn it around on that side, okay? And then I'll be able to draw another hand on that side, okay? Children, if you need help, please get somebody to be able to help you and to draw your hand. If you can't be able to draw your hand, get somebody to help you, your mom, your dad, your older brother or sister. Just get them to help you so that you can be able to draw that hand. It's really just an outline of your hand, okay? So I've traced the outline on my hand on one end, and then I've traced even on the other side. So these papers are 4 of them. Okay, you can see there are 4. So what I'll do before I start cutting, I'll kind of like staple them so that they don't move around. I can tell, Shiro, can you tell your papers are moving around?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll staple them temporarily like that, you know, just to hold them around. And then what I'll do is I'll kind of like outline it just a little bit, okay, so that we can be able to see where the hand is. Let me outline that. And when you're outlining, be careful so that you're able to outline it straight, because sometimes you can go crooked. So what I do is I outline my whole hand right there. Okay, and then after I finish outlining my hand, I'll be able to cut it out. This hand, children, will remind you to always pray. Let me tell you another thing that you can do over here is to write anything that you need to ask God.
Yes.
Yeah. Shiro, is there anything you want to ask God?
Right now.
Yeah. Me, I know I want to ask him something. I want him to help me when I'm doing, like, if I'm working, I will ask God to help me. And children, even when you're in school, you ask God to help you so that you can do your work. And then even to help you when your friend tells you, let's go do something outside. You pray.
To help you make the right choice.
Yes, to make the right choice and to make the right decision. Every time, sometimes we find ourselves not making the correct decision. Our friends are there and they're telling us, let's do this, let's go somewhere, and they tell you it's okay, you can miss on school, or let's go somewhere where your parents have told you not to go. But please, children, make sure that you don't go, because if you go without asking God, something bad can happen. You can be tricked and something bad can happen. So I finished outlining my hand. Okay, so what I'm going to do is to take a pair of scissors. Remember, my papers are for 1, 2, 3, 4, and when I cut, that means I'll have so many hands. So I'll have almost 8 hands. Okay,
no, exactly 8 hands.
I'll have 8 hands. Yeah. Okay, so this is what I do, is I make sure I cut it out carefully. Children, the other thing I'll also ask you is that when you're using scissors, make sure you get somebody to help you. Get a grown-up to help you, because scissors can be a bit dangerous, okay? And painful when you cut yourself. Scissors can actually cut, okay? So I've gone through and I've been able to cut my hand. Okay, so I'll cut that, and then after that I'll come and cut through this other hand. So the other thing that we're going to be able to do with these hands is we're going to be able to kind of like join them up with a little bit of a ribbon. The same ribbon we used last time. We'll be able to use this ribbon, and it
look like they're actually praying.
Yeah, so they look like there are many hands that are
many hands put together
praying together. Yeah. The other most important thing about these other praying hands, because there are many, okay, what we'll do is we'll be able to write the many needs that we have on our hands.
Yes, every time we pray for something, we write it down.
Every time we need to pray for something, we take a pencil and we write it down, because there are very many. And when you're done writing on one hand, then you can actually cut up some other hands and be able to write. Yes. So children, make sure that you cut up your hands, you know, going around all the fingers. If you can't do this by yourself,
ask for help.
Ask for help, yes. Please ask somebody so that you can tell them, please help me cut out my praying hands so that I can be able to ask God every time for anything that I need, so that I don't get tricked. The other person that can trick you is not just your friend. The devil can also trick you, and you end up doing the wrong thing. But every time you come to God and you tell him to help you, he'll always be able to help you, okay? So I'm done cutting this one, okay?
That's actually very hard
to cut, yeah. Cutting is not easy. That's why you need to get help all the time when you need to cut. Okay, have you finished with one set of hands? Because I've finished with one set of hands, okay? So I'll show you what we'll do. But when you're cutting at home, make sure you put all the sets of hands together.
So you don't separate.
So they don't separate, and then you're able to cut them, okay? So I finished cutting that set of hands like this. Let me cut this out on this end. Okay, so I remove out those papers and I move this to the side, okay? After I've finished cutting this set of hands, let me round off this hand right here. If you need help, children, make sure you ask for help. So these are my many hands, and they are all together. Can you see? They look like hands that are praying. Okay? I'm done cutting. And then what we'll do, these hands, I'll make sure I stick them together. Okay? Now, remember the ribbon I told you about? Let me move all this paper so that you're able to see. You remember the ribbon I was talking about? So I'll take this ribbon and fold it like this, and then make sure I staple it on so it looks like a handle.
Yes.
Okay? So I've taken that ribbon, I've joined it there, then I've taken the other end of the ribbon, okay? And I've been able to staple it and join it right there, so you make sure it's all stuck, okay? And then it doesn't come out. So what you do is when you're looking at your hands like this, you see now it looks like many pages where you can open and open
like a book.
And open like a book, okay? So you'll be able to write all your needs over here. And then on top here, I'm going to write praying hands. Okay, and then you can write down your needs. You can say, God help me in school.
Yes, help me pass my exam.
So I've written over there, God help me in school. So it can be God will help you to pass your exams. God will help you. And there are so many other things that you can be able to write on your praying hands. And then this is just to be able to hang so that you can have your praying hands together. When you fill up this page for praying hands, when it's all full, you can draw another set of praying hands. But don't be like the Israelite leaders who did not go and ask God. Then they did their own thing. So they had
They were in trouble.
Yeah, they were in trouble. But from that, they also were able to learn that every time they need to ask God to help them. Okay? So that's our story for today. We are done with this and we'll still go and see. I think there are 2 more things about what the children of Israel do, okay, with Joshua. But for now, bye!